Hi everyone, I'm coming at you from my new home in Bali. I'm so happy to get back here. I've been traveling for months, I think up to 4 months, and my home really feels like Bali. I've been here for 5 years already, so I've returned and I've created a new little temple space which feels beautiful, especially surrounded by all of this wood. All right, I'm tuning in with you today to talk about it's in relation to what's happening in the world right now. So, of course, I couldn't not reference the fact that this outbreak, this virus, is causing us to, or requiring us rather, to really change the way that we're interacting with the world, with our daily lives. At the same time, at the moment right now, with this big shift of energy, is also this insane amount of information coming our way. You know, I'm not the only one making videos right now during this time. And so much of our world is now being lived in the online realm, actually, in that virtual space, because at the moment, physically, a lot of the world cannot live out in that physical environment that they normally would in social interactions, in work. A lot of places are on lockdown. Maybe you're on lockdown listening to this right now. So what I want to touch upon is maybe something that you've been experiencing. I definitely was, and that is this sense of being overwhelmed with information, with being completely bombarded with all of the things that are coming from all of the different places, and then getting totally confused at what we should do or what the best thing is, the right thing. And in that state, we're living in this kind of like higher vibration of reacting to what we're being told in the media, by friends, by our family. And it's, living in this reactive place is not actually conducive to our health. You know, reactivity is really just us like firing off in this state of heightened anxiety almost. You know, our adrenals, this place that helps us to maintain our energy, metabolize our energy, can get depleted very, very fast when we're just reacting to everything. Not only that, when we're in reactivity, we're also not connected to our most powerful place. We're not connected to that part of us that can feel like we have some control or some sense of balance in how we're playing out these days. However, you know, we're forced to, but also feeling like we have some autonomy in that, some independence. And that doesn't come from being reactive. That comes from being responsive. So these two things are very similar, but it's a completely different mode of being in terms of reactivity and responsivity, or maybe more simply, reacting or responding. How this relates to feminine energy as well is that when we are in this mode of receiving information, we are receptive. So we are more in feminine when we are receiving rather than giving. So right now I'm giving the information, right? I'm penetrating. And so there's a little bit more of a masculine energy driving what I'm saying or how I'm saying this, or just driving the mechanism for me showing up, wanting to share. And you, in listening to this and also listening to all of the things you're listening to, you're in a receptive mode. So you're more tapped into your feminine. And receptivity is actually a beautiful space for you to connect with, because so much of the time we are used to doing, like going in that more masculine mode of being, whether we're women or men. So being forced to go inward, to receive, to be told, you know, what we might have to do, to be told the updates on what's happening outside of us that affects us. We need to receive that. And again, we can receive in two ways. We can either react or we can respond. As I shared before, reacting is like automatic. Reacting isn't by choice. Reacting also then is often driven by fear, by our insecurities, or by past conditioned ways of being that aren't really true to us. Whereas responding has choice involved with it. We're conscious, we're aware, we are choosing our response rather than reacting to whatever's happening. So now that those two things are clear, I'll just summarize so far that we are in a very receptive, feminine mode of being right now. And in receiving, there are two ways we can receive: to either react or to respond. Reacting can lead us to more anxiety, more feeling of helplessness and stress, whereas responding can make us feel more powerful, more in control. Even if we can't control all of the things, we can control our response. So I'm just going to give you some practical tips now on how to bring this into your daily life, especially in response to what's happening in the world. One is check in with where you're getting your information from. And I'm talking about information on, health updates, the statistics, what you should be doing, in your confinement or with your travel quarantine. Check in with where you are getting your information, and rather than reacting to information that's being thrown your way by just something that you saw online that someone shared that just pops up in your field, that's putting us in a reactive mode. But if you're actually seeking out this information from trusted sources, from sources that aren't like the big media name websites, like if it's a media channel or a general news that you're watching on the TV, their websites are generally also in that same air of bias, of more opinion. Yeah, there's some information there, but it's kind of diluted with this way that it's been expressed. I, for one, do not trust traditional media. So if you go onto sites like WHO International, or if you just type in like coronavirus statistics and look at the certain sites and look at what actually looks like it's objective information, use that as your trusted source. So when you want information, when you want to be updated, go and seek that information and streamline where you're getting it from. Because then you can respond with more clarity and less overwhelm of, they said this and he said this and I don't know who to trust, right? So that's one way. Another way is do things in your life, do practices in your daily routine right now that put you in a responding state, not a reacting state. So I mean things that are intentional, things that are you are having choice around them. Mindfulness is a big thing here. It's not just about mindful meditation, but, simply washing your dishes with utter awareness, complete focus on the feeling of the water on your hands, the texture of the dishes that you're washing, what you're seeing as you're doing that. That presence that you cultivate in your daily tasks kind of carries through and ripples through so that you're in this more present and alive and aware state for when things are coming your way and you may otherwise be in this reactive and automatic autopilot state. So that's another way. Really just inject your day with as much mindfulness as you can. Do things as if they were the most important thing to do in that moment, because they are. Some resources for mindfulness that I really found potent when I was diving deep into mindfulness was Thich Nhat Hanh. Anything by Thich Nhat Hanh. He's a Zen monk, a Thai Zen monk, if I'm not mistaken. No, Vietnamese, I think. And he's got beautiful and quite simple writings that I often listen actually to in audio form. I love audiobooks. And Peace is Every Step is one of his amazing books that I would recommend anyone to listen to. I say listen because I feel like when we're able to do something else while listening, like art or something, passive, not super concentrated, or going for a walk, I feel like that movement of our body really helps to anchor it into our body, our cells, our knowing. So that's a really good resource. Also, anything by Eckhart Tolle. I actually prefer, what's it called? It's something about silence. Something about silence. I'll put the link underneath, but it's not The Power of Now, actually. It's a different book by Eckhart Tolle that I really found to be more, it spoke to me more than the regular one that everybody starts with Eckhart Tolle. That's still a great book too. Meditations, do mindfulness meditations, guided meditations, yoga. Yoga connects you with this ability to choose whether to respond or react, because you are feeling intense things in your body, whether it's stretch or strength. And in that moment of feeling, if you are really present to your practice, you can decide to either breathe and soften it, so responding, or to go, oh, this is really hard, I don't want to do plank anymore, which is in reacting. And if you do catch yourself reacting, this is actually the last thing I'm going to say on this. If you catch yourself in a reacting mode, it's not bad. Like, you're not bad. You don't need to berate yourself. You don't need to have a negative reaction to your reaction, because when you catch yourself, that can actually be a moment of celebration, because it means you were aware enough to catch yourself. It means you had this, this sense of presence to what was happening in order to recognize, oh, I'm reacting right now. The more you can catch yourself, the more that you'll be able to then choose how and when to respond. So think about all of those times as catching yourself in reactivity being like another little tick to your practice of responding. And again, the more we do something, the better we get at it. So the more you catch yourself, the more ease it is, or the more ease you will feel, in being able to get into that responding mode of being. And it's all going to serve you to feel more peace, more calm, more balanced, more grounded, and more in your power, even if we have to surrender to the waves of life and what's happening at the moment. We can still have this connection to our power by choosing how to respond to it. So I'll leave that there for now. I hope you enjoy listening. And if you want to stay up to date with things that I'm sharing, all different practices, tips, discussions on the power of feminine energies and connecting to this more present and mindful way of being, then subscribe. You can subscribe right here on my channel, and that will keep you up to date with what I'm sharing. I'll speak to you soon.